knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're an Oreo cookie. White in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro. I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I would slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
United the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Relationships, I believe, is one of the most important aspects of life, and it's unfortunate that they are falling apart, but I have an expert here to help us. Dr. Wendy Walsh is with me. She is a relationship expert. She helps people solve their relationship problems and give parenting guide tips, right? Tips.
Lots of advice.
She's on CNN, Discovery, DatingVice.com. She lectures at Cal State University, Channel Island. She's all over the place. She's a PhD in clinical psychology. Thank you for coming on.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you can make it. You were able to make it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I had to fight a little traffic, but I made it.
Yeah, good. Relationships are not working for the most part. In the Christian community, for example, over 50% of relationships or marriages end in divorce. In the inner cities, because so many kids are born out of wedlock, 73% of kids, black children born out of wedlock, they're not seeing that father and mother or husband and wife relationship. So they're not learning from that.
They don't have the role model. I want to clarify one statistic, though. People throw around this 50% divorce statistic like it applies to absolutely everybody.
Right.
But in fact, the research is pretty clear that the divorce rate is only 50%, half, once you've been married more than 20 years. So in other words, if you've been married 5 years, you have an 85% chance of staying together until death. If you've been married 10 years, you have a 65% chance of staying together till death. So what I want you to remember is that when "till death do us part" was invented, death was pretty imminent. Our lifespans were pretty short. So now that we're living these long lives, many people may have 1 or 2 or 3 stints of long-term monogamy in their life. But the most important thing is they tend to stay together when there are children in the home. But if you have children outside of wedlock, if you have children when you're just cohabitating, living together, you actually have a 90% chance of breaking up before the kids turn 12.
That's amazing.
So this institution of marriage is an intellectual contract.
Yes.
Now, I'm not, I don't think marriage is a solution to everything and everybody, but I do believe we're at a stage in our progression where we don't have enough cultural supports for single parents. And as a result, statistically, marriage is still the best way to build a nest that's safe for children.
I grew up in Alabama under the Jim Crow laws there, and I remember when, we couldn't live in certain areas and do certain things. But it was good in that we had families. My grandfather, grandmother, my father, my mother, everybody down the road was married,
In general, obviously
except into the rule, but
there was lots of stuff going on in the greater culture that was not healthy for you. But in general, extended families are what children need. We're not meant to be brought up in isolation.
That's right.
In a nuclear family with just, one tired mom and one tired dad and no support. That's not normal.
If you have, the thing I noticed about growing up like that, even though there were things against us in the outer environment, we didn't really feel it because we had good parents. We loved one another. We had good times together. We worked together. And so you didn't really feel the pain of society because you had the love of family.
Yeah.
And I think if kids had that now, and when they go out into the world, it's easier to deal with what's happening out there because you have the love and support of your parents.
Look where you got to today because of the self-esteem that your parents and extended family instilled in you.
That's right.
At the end of the day, you know what? Life becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If somebody tells a small child, you ain't going to be nothing when you grow up, that person's not going to achieve their full potential.
That's right.
In the same sense, if a parent isn't, to a baby, an infant and toddler, isn't responsive, loving, caring, then that child grows up to not trust the world.
Yes.
And when you grow up to not trust the world will bite you in the butt.
That's for sure. I have lots of questions for you. People email me questions for you and text me. They want to know, get your opinion on. The first is an email I received. Where do men and women go wrong in relationships and families?
Well, that's a big, fat, general question. So I would look at any individual situation and probably have a better way to answer it. But I can talk about some of the big issues in our culture today. One is technology isn't helping.
Yeah.
You know, our biology evolved to hang with a group of about 35 related people that we roamed the savannah with, picking roots and nuts and killing the odd piece of protein. And during the course of our lifespan, our entire lifespan, we never, for millions of years, we never met more than, say, 150 humans.
Yes.
So now people have thousands of people just on one Facebook page. And as a result, we're being presented with too much sexual opportunity.
Yes.
So that becomes a war on relationships. People find, like, why should I commit? Because there might be a bigger, better deal out there somewhere. So they sort of keep playing this game of musical chairs, musical beds, and they never let the music stop and sit down.
Right.
And along the way, by the way, out of all this dating, mating, relating, babies show up in this game of musical chairs.
That's amazing. How much of an impact have the change of roles between men and women had on relationships today?
Excellent question. Gender roles are having a big piece of it. And by the way, I'm not preaching that anyone go back to anything, but that we become aware of what's going on and understand it's an issue and how to manage it. So right now we're seeing an unprecedented rise of women in America. For every 2 men that graduate college, there are 3 women. Women make up 3/5 of graduate schools. Wow. And in the age 22 to 32 demographic, women are making more money than their male peers. Now, then there are also cultural variances. So in the African-American community, women are excelling even faster.
Yes.
That gap is even bigger.
That's right.
So, but as a result, these women still hold this kind of Cinderella rescue fantasy that they're going to meet a guy who is more educated than them and makes more money, and they all want to marry the CEO. So I talk to women about changing their perception about what is a power man. Because it may just be the guy who can power a stroller, you know? It may be the guy who can just be the strong protector, not necessarily a provider.
That's amazing. Men in the workplace, men work for different reasons than women do. Let me see.
Well, yes, men work for identity.
Yeah.
It's so much a part of their identity.
It is. It's natural inside of me as a man to work and provide for my family.
Yeah.
It comes natural. It gives life to me to do that.
Yeah.
Women don't get that same effect from working, right?
Some of them do. I mean, certainly high-achieving women self-identify with their positions. But if you ask a guy, if you're at a party and you say, "Hi, who are you?" the guy's going to tell you his business title.
Right.
If you ask a woman, she's going to say, "I'm so-and-so's sister, I'm so-and-so's mother, I'm the wife of so-and-so." So women tend to self-define through relationships. And then they might add, "Oh, and I also am a lawyer." But you know what I mean?
Is it natural for women to be out, especially if they're married with children? I know if you're not married, you don't have kids, it's a totally different story. But if you're married with children, is it best for the mother to stay home?
Well,
and raise the children, because it seems so stressful to do both.
Well, I don't think we can put it on any specific gender. What we do know is that children need to have at least one, if not more, consistent, secure bond with a caregiver. That caregiver may be a grandmother. It may be an uncle. It may be a mother. It may be a father. The consistency is the important word, though. Changing houses, changing caregivers, throwing that schedule upside down with poor kids being shuttled around everywhere. And I meant the word poor, meaning I'm sorry for them, not that they don't have money, because you don't have to have money or education to love a child.
That's right. That's right.
Know that. There are lots of children in very wealthy households who are shuttled around to nannies and not getting the love they need from a consistent parent.
A lot of people, a lot of couples don't know how to deal with challenges. You know, once they come together, they start to disagree on issues, they argue. I want you to tell them when we come back how to handle those types of situations.
You got it.
888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE.